Aiden stood in the quiet, dimly lit medical bay of the Peacekeeper station. His fingers rested on the control panel, ready to prepare for yet another routine checkup. He had been a medic for years, traveling from planet to planet, always looking to help those in need, but today, everything changed. The emergency alarm rang, echoing through the station. Urgent transmission coming through. The voice of the station's officer crackled over the comms. Prepare for incoming alien delegation. A princess from the planet Serenos is requesting immediate medical assistance. Aiden's heart skipped a beat. Serenos was a distant world known for its advanced technology and beautiful, yet mysterious inhabitants. The people of Serenos had never been known to interact much with outsiders, and their royal family was even more elusive. Aiden had heard rumors of their power, their beauty, and their isolation from the rest of the galaxy. But a princess? Asking for human help? That was a first. Aiden grabbed his medkit and hurried to the docking bay, where a sleek alien shuttle was landing. The doors opened, revealing a group of tall, elegant figures. Their skin a shimmering silver blue, and their eyes glowing softly, like twin stars. In the center stood Princess Lyra, a sight so striking that it almost took Aiden's breath away. Lyra's beauty was unlike anything he had ever seen. Her long, flowing hair shimmered like starlight, and her delicate features seemed otherworldly, almost too perfect to be real. But the look in her eyes was filled with desperation. She was pale, her skin less vibrant than it had been before. She looked fragile, exhausted. It was clear she was in pain. Aiden moved forward quickly. "Princess, what's happened?" "You need?" Her voice was soft, almost a whisper, but it carried a weight of authority. "I need you, human. You're the only one who can help me." He was taken aback by her words. "I'm just a medic." "What happened to you?" Lyra's eyes locked onto his, filled with a sorrow he had never seen before. "I've been poisoned," she explained. "The infection, it spreads through my people. We have no cure." Aiden looked at her, confused. "Poison? But you're from an advanced civilization? Surely you have a cure." Lyra's gaze faltered. "Our medicine doesn't work. My people are dying. And now, it has come to me." Her words hit Aiden harder than he expected. He couldn't imagine what it must feel like to be a princess, a symbol of hope for an entire planet, and know that you were the next in line to fall. Aiden knew he had to do something. "Let's get you into the med bay," Aiden said, his voice steady. "I'll do everything I can." They moved swiftly into the station's medical bay, where Aiden began his assessment. He ran a few scans, his eyes narrowing in concern as the results appeared on his screen. The poison was spreading through her bloodstream faster than any toxin he had ever encountered. It was a highly advanced biological agent, something only a few species were capable of creating. "Your species," Aiden started, still analyzing the data. "You've never encountered this before?" Lyra shook her head weakly. "No, it's new, and unlike anything we've seen. It affects our biology in ways we don't fully understand. I fear it's beyond our ability to treat." Aiden frowned, thinking quickly. If this infection is biological, then maybe we can figure out what's causing it and counteract it. "I'll need a sample of your blood to study it." Lyra nodded and allowed Aiden to draw a small vial of her blood, a soft hiss filling the room as the needle withdrew. Aiden placed the vial into his scanner, trying to piece together a solution. He knew his people had some of the best medical technology, but this was an entirely different challenge. Whatever was causing this infection was like nothing he had encountered before. "I've never seen anything like this," Aiden murmured. "We need to send a sample to Earth. Maybe the researchers back home can figure it out. But in the meantime, I'm going to do everything I can to keep you stable." But Lyra's gaze never wavered. "Aiden," she said, her voice barely above a whisper, "I don't have much time. I can feel it. The poison is killing me slowly, but you may be the only one who can save me." Aiden stopped. He was looking at her with confusion. "What do you mean?" "I'm just a medic." "There is something in your blood," she explained. "Something that is unique. I've sensed it since you first touched me. You're different from the other humans I've encountered." Aiden's brow furrowed. "My blood? What are you talking about?" I don't understand it fully, she admitted. But I know that your blood might be the key to my survival. The High Council has spoken of it. There are legends about the mixing of our blood with that of other species, a special kind of bond. Aiden felt his pulse quicken. Asking me, to give you my blood. His voice was incredulous. This wasn't a simple medical procedure. This was something much bigger. Lyra's eyes were desperate. Yes, the council believes that if your blood can merge with mine, it might stop the poison. But I can't do this without your help. Aiden hesitated. He didn't fully understand what she was asking him to do, but he could see the fear in her eyes. He was a medic, sworn to do no harm, but this was different. If it was his blood that could save her, could he refuse? I'll do it, Aiden said, his voice steady, despite the pounding in his chest. If it can save you, I'll do whatever it takes. Lyra's expression softened, a trace of gratitude in her eyes. Thank you, Aiden. You may not realize it, but you are doing something far beyond healing me. You are becoming a part of my destiny. As Aiden prepared for the procedure, he felt the weight of her words. Whatever happened next, he knew that his life would never be the same. The med bay was filled with a quiet hum as Aiden prepared for the procedure. His heart raced in his chest, and his thoughts raced even faster. What was he about to do? Give his blood to a complete stranger? No, to an alien princess. Was this even possible? He couldn't ignore the feeling that something much larger was happening, something that could change his life forever. Princess Lyra lay on the table, her pale skin now a dull shade of blue. Despite the soft breathing mask over her face, she looked fragile, almost like a delicate piece of art. Aiden could see the fear in her eyes as she met his gaze. She was not afraid of death. She was afraid of the unknown consequences of their actions. But there was nothing left to lose. You're sure about this? Aiden asked gently, his voice steady but laced with concern. I don't want to do anything that could harm you more. Lyra nodded slowly. I know what I am asking. I believe this is the only way, Aiden. The prophecy, the legends speak of this. I can feel it in my blood. My people have always believed that only when an outsider's blood merges with mine will the curse be lifted. Aiden was still unsure, but decided that, for now, this was the only option. He had to trust her, and he had to trust the strange feeling inside him that told him this was right. Aiden took a deep breath and moved to the machine next to her. It was a sophisticated alien device, something beyond anything Earth had produced. The needle was long, curved, and glowing with a soft light, ready to pierce his skin. But there was something unsettling about it. The entire room seemed to vibrate with energy as if the very air around them had changed. This was no ordinary medical procedure. He positioned the needle above his arm. As soon as it touched his skin, a sharp, electric-like sensation shot through his veins. It wasn't painful, but it was strange. His mind swirled as his body began to react to the foreign energy. Lyra, too, was hooked to the machine, her eyes closed in concentration. Aiden could feel the connection between them growing stronger with each passing moment. It was as though their hearts were beating in unison, their life forces now linked together by the thin thread of the transfusion. Aiden could hear her soft voice again, distant but clear in his mind. You are not just giving your blood to me, Aiden. You are giving me a part of your soul. The words sent a shiver down his spine. He was starting to feel dizzy, as if the room was spinning around him. He didn't understand what was happening, but he couldn't stop now. The blood was flowing freely between them. His own body was beginning to feel strange alive in a way he had never experienced. As the transfusion continued, Aiden's vision blurred. His mind became clouded with a strange energy, and memories that weren't his own flashed before his eyes. He saw visions of Lyra's home planet, the beautiful cities made of crystal, the golden fields where her people had once walked. But then, the images turned darker, disease-ridden streets, empty homes, a planet dying slowly. Lyra's people were fading away, and her people's ancient wisdom was being lost forever. But amidst the chaos, he also saw something else, a vision of himself standing by Lyra's side, not as a medic, but as something more, someone who was bound to her by destiny. The visions felt so real, as if he had lived them himself. He saw himself as a part of her history. Aiden blinked, trying to shake off the confusion, but it was no use. He was tied to her now in ways he couldn't explain. Lyra's energy was intertwining with his, her memories flooding his thoughts. He could feel the weight of her people's future resting on his shoulders. Suddenly, the machine beeped, signaling that the transfusion was complete. Aiden pulled away the needle, feeling the sharp tug as it left his skin. But it wasn't the physical pain that troubled him. It was the sensation that something inside him had changed, something deep and unexplainable. He looked at Lyra, who was now awake. Her breathing was steadier, her once frightened eyes now calm. There was a moment of silence before she spoke. Quotes. Aiden. It's working. Her voice was soft, filled with relief. I feel it. The poison, it's slowing down. Aiden stepped back, unsure of what to say. He was still reeling from the strange connection he had felt. It was as though he and Lyra were no longer two separate beings. Their blood had become one, and the bond between them could never be broken. But even as Lyra began to breathe easier, Aiden knew the worst was not over. There was something more to this connection than just a shared transfusion, something much deeper. Lyra looked at him, her expression filled with gratitude. Thank you, Aiden. You have saved me in ways I can never repay. But this bond, we share. It's only the beginning. Aiden frowned. What do you mean? What's going to happen to us? Lyra hesitated, then took his hand in hers. Her touch was surprisingly warm, like fire flowing through her veins. I don't know, but I believe our fates are now intertwined. The bond we share could mean the survival of my people, or their destruction. You are no longer just a human, Aiden. You are a part of Sereno's now. Your blood will shape the future of my world. Aiden looked down at their hands, now connected, in ways he didn't understand. This was no longer just about saving a life. This was about something far greater, something that would change both their worlds forever. He couldn't help but feel a rising sense of dread mixed with awe. What had he gotten himself into? And what was the strange force inside him that was growing stronger with each passing moment? Before he could speak, Lyra's voice broke through his thoughts. There's more you need to understand, Aiden. Legends, they were right. Our blood, when mixed, creates more than a cure. It creates a new power, power that could reshape the galaxy. Aiden's heart skipped a beat. What had he done? Lyra's gaze softened. But we'll face this together. Aiden, I won't let you go through this alone. Aiden sat in the corner of the medical bay, his mind spinning with everything that had just happened. The connection between him and Lyra felt stronger than ever, yet he still didn't fully understand it. He had given his blood to save her, but now something inside him had changed. He could feel the strange power growing in him, as though his very body was no longer his own. Lyra was resting in the bed across the room, her once pale skin now regaining its usual glow. Her breathing was steady, and her energy seemed to return. With each passing moment, Aiden couldn't help but watch her as she slept, wondering what would happen next. Would she truly be the key to saving her people? And what role did he play in all of this? As the hours passed, Lyra woke up. Her eyes met his, and for a moment there was nothing but silence between them. Aiden could feel her gaze, like a pull, on his soul, and he couldn't look away. It was as if they shared the same heartbeat, the same breath. She smiled softly at him. How do you feel? Aiden asked, his voice low. Lyra's eyes held a depth he had never seen before. I feel different, she said quietly. The poison is fading. My body is healing in ways I didn't think were possible. She sat up slowly, testing her strength. I owe it to you, Aiden. Aiden nodded, but the unease in his chest only grew. You owe me more than just your life, Lyra. You said our blood was linked, but I don't understand how or why. Why is this happening? Lyra gazed at him for a long moment, her eyes searching his. I wish I could explain it fully, but there are ancient prophecies in my culture. Legends that speak of a bond between our people and the humans, a bond that could save us or destroy us. This connection between us is the beginning of something neither of us can control. Aiden shook his head. I didn't ask for this. I didn't ask to be part of your people's prophecy. You didn't have a choice, Lyra said softly. Neither of us did. But the choice we make now will determine everything. Aiden ran a hand through his hair, trying to process her words. His life had been turned upside down in the past few hours, and now he was connected to an alien princess in ways that went beyond anything he had ever imagined. What exactly is the prophecy, and how does it involve me? Lyra stood up, her posture strong and graceful. The prophecy says that when the blood of a human and an alien royal merge, something powerful will be born, force strong enough to defeat our enemies, ... or to destroy us. Her gaze softened as she approached him. But I think we're both part of it now, Aiden. You gave me your blood to save me, but I think it's done more than that. It's created a bond between us, a bond that goes beyond blood. Aiden felt his pulse quicken. A bond ... Like what? Lyra looked away for a moment, her expression distant. Our ancestors believed that blood holds power, but it's not just the physical blood, it's what it carries. Emotions, memories, experiences. The connection between our species has always been more than just biology. It's spiritual. And now we share it. Aiden felt a cold shiver run down his spine. I don't know if I can handle this, Lyra. I'm just a medic. I didn't sign up for ... whatever this is. I know, she said softly. But you're already a part of it, Aiden. We both are. The room fell silent, the weight of her words hanging heavily in the air. Aiden was no longer sure if he could walk away from this. But the bond that tied them together wasn't something he could easily ignore. He didn't know what was happening to him, but he could feel it inside his very bones. There was something changing, something deep and primal. Without warning, Aiden was struck with a sudden vision. It was like a flash of images, too quick for him to comprehend. Lyra's world burning. The streets flooded with light as ships clashed overhead. He saw her people in panic, and then he saw himself standing beside her. Fighting by her side, his blood coursing through her veins, giving her strength. He was no longer just a medic. It was something more. The vision faded as quickly as it had come, leaving Aiden breathless and confused. He stumbled back, gripping the table for support. What was that? He gasped, looking at Lyra in disbelief. Lyra's eyes widened in understanding. You saw it, didn't you? Power the bond gives us. It's not just a connection. It's a vision of the future where we fight together. Aiden felt his heart race. Fight? What are you talking about? I'm not a soldier. I don't know how to fight. You don't have to be a soldier, Aiden, Lyra said, moving toward him. This isn't just about weapons or war. It's about unity. This bond we share is the key to bringing both of our peoples together. It's the only way we can survive what's coming. Aiden's mind was still spinning. What's coming? What do you mean? Lyra took a deep breath, her voice steady. There are forces in the galaxy that want to see both our people destroyed. The galaxy isn't as peaceful as it seems. And now, they know about the bond between us. They won't stop until they have it or destroy it. Aiden felt a wave of fear wash over him. He had no idea what he was getting into, but he couldn't deny the truth in Lyra's words. Whatever power they had unleashed, it had put them both in the crosshairs of dangerous enemies. Enemies who would stop at nothing to take control. Then what do we do? Aiden asked, his voice tight with uncertainty. Lyra's eyes softened. We fight. Together. Aiden stared at her, unsure of what to think or how to feel. He wasn't a soldier. He wasn't even sure he was ready for this. But Lyra was right. They were bound by something far greater than themselves now. Whatever happened, they had to face it head on. For their people, for their future. Aiden nodded slowly, a sense of determination settling over him. He didn't know what would happen next, but he knew one thing for certain. His life would never be the same, and neither would Lyra's. Aiden sat in the quiet of the medbay, his mind racing. The weight of the situation had become too heavy to ignore. He had never imagined that a simple medical procedure would lead to such a deep connection with an alien princess, and yet here, he was bonded to Lyra in a way that was far beyond his understanding. The visions, the strange power growing inside him, and now the reality of enemies after them was all too much. Lyra stood beside him. looking out of the window at the stars outside. Her expression was calm, but Aiden could see the tension in her posture. She had been through so much, and yet she carried herself like someone who had a duty to fulfill. Her people were counting on her, and now they were counting on him as well. "Aiden," Lyra began, her voice steady, "we need to talk about the prophecy. Have to understand what this means." Aiden turned to face her, his brow furrowing. "The prophecy? What exactly is it? What are we supposed to do?" Lyra nodded slowly, her eyes meeting his. "My people have always known that one day a great danger would come. The plague that is killing my people isn't the only threat. We face there are others galactic factions that want to control us. The prophecy speaks of a time when a human and a royal alien will unite. Together, they will either save or destroy everything." Aiden shook his head, trying to process what she was saying. "You're saying the future of your people depends on me?" Lyra's gaze softened. "It depends on both of us. The bond we share is part of the prophecy. The power it creates can be used for good or it can be misused. The wrong hands could destroy us all." Aiden stepped closer, his mind spinning. "But how do we control it? How do we know we're doing the right thing?" Lyra sighed deeply. "That's the question, isn't it? My people believe that our blood can reshape the future, but the prophecy isn't clear on how. It only says that the bond between us will awaken something powerful, something that could end the war started." Aiden ran a hand through his hair, his thoughts clouded. "This is too much. I'm just a medic, not equipped to handle a prophecy or to be some kind of hero." "You don't have to be a hero, Aiden," Lyra said, her voice gentle but firm. "You just have to help me understand this bond. Together we can figure it out." Aiden looked at her, the weight of her words sinking in. He had always been the one to heal others, to fix problems with his knowledge and skill. But this was beyond anything he had ever trained for. He wasn't prepared for whatever came next, but he couldn't turn away. Not now. "So what happens next?" Aiden asked, his voice heavy with uncertainty. "How do we stop these factions from coming after us?" Lyra's eyes hardened. "We prepare for them. There are groups out there who would do anything to capture the power we've created. We can't let that happen. I have to return to my people, and we have to defend ourselves." Aiden's heart sank. "You're going back to your world?" Lyra nodded. "I have no choice. I need to warn my people, and I need to gather the forces we'll need to protect ourselves. We cannot fight this battle alone." Aiden hesitated. "But what about me? What if I'm not ready for this? I don't know how to fight. I don't even know how this bond works." "You don't have to be a fighter," Lyra said softly. Strength is in your connection to me. That's what makes you different. It's not just about weapons or tactics. It's about understanding the bond between us, how we can use it to defend what matters most." Aiden nodded slowly, still unsure of what that really meant. But he trusted her, he had to. "Then let's figure it out together. Whatever comes next, we face it as a team." Lyra smiled, the weight in her eyes lightening slightly. "Thank you, Aiden. I knew I could count on you." The two of them stood in silence for a moment, the quiet hum of the station's engines filling the room. It was a moment of calm before the storm, a moment where Aiden could finally begin to accept the role he had unwittingly stepped into. His life would never be the same. But now he had a purpose. Lyra turned to the communication console. "Need to contact my people. Need to let them know what's happened and what we've discovered." Aiden watched as she activated the console, her fingers moving quickly over the keys. The screen flickered, then stabilized, showing a series of alien symbols Aiden couldn't understand. Lyra spoke in her native language, her voice calm but urgent. Aiden could tell she was sending a message to the High Council of her people. When she finished, she turned to him. "They'll know soon. I'll send help." Aiden nodded. "What kind of help?" Support, Lyra said, her gaze hardening. "Troops, resources, and information. But it will take time. We don't have much of it." Aiden felt a pit form in his stomach. It wasn't enough to just defend Lyra. He was now part of something much larger. He was part of a fight that had been brewing for generations, one that he had never seen coming. "Do you trust them?" Aiden asked, his voice cautious. Lyra met his gaze, her eyes unwavering. I trust my people, but we are all at risk. There are those who would betray us, even from within? Aiden could feel the tension in the air. There was no turning back now. They were part of a larger plan, a larger destiny, and no matter how uncertain he felt, he couldn't walk away. He was in this for the long haul. We'll need to stay one step ahead, Aiden said, determination creeping into his voice. Have to be ready for whatever comes. Lyra nodded. And we will be. Together, they stood in the quiet room, their fates intertwined in ways neither of them fully understood. But they knew one thing for certain. The road ahead would not be easy, and it would be up to both of them to shape the future. Aiden stood at the edge of the observation deck, staring out at the stars. He had always been fascinated by space, but now it felt different. It wasn't just a distant void of possibilities anymore. It was a battlefield, and he was standing right in the middle of it. The bond between him and Lyra, the alien princess, was growing stronger every day. But so were the dangers they faced. Lyra had received the message from her people. Her people were mobilizing, preparing to face the coming storm. Aiden had been briefed on their enemy's alien factions that would stop at nothing to control the power they now held. The news was unsettling, and Aiden could feel the weight of responsibility pressing on his shoulders. He glanced over at Lyra, who was sitting at a nearby table, studying military reports and communicating with her advisors. Her calm demeanor never wavered, but Aiden could see the fear in her eyes, hidden beneath the surface. She was trying to be strong, not just for herself, but for her entire species. But Aiden could tell it was taking a toll on her. You don't have to do this alone, you know, Aiden said, his voice quiet but filled with conviction. We're in this together. Lyra looked up from her screen, offering him a small smile. I know, Aiden. I'm just trying to prepare for what's coming. Stakes are higher than I ever imagined. My people will need all the help they can get, but I also have to make sure they're ready to defend themselves. The last thing I want is for them to be caught off guard. Aiden nodded. But they're not the only ones at risk. We are too. Lyra's eyes softened, and for the first time in days, she seemed to relax just a little. I know. And that's why I need you by my side. We're stronger together, Aiden. Whatever happens next, I know we can handle it. Aiden stood up, moving closer to where Lyra was sitting. We have to move fast. If your enemies are as powerful as you say, we don't have much time. You're right, she said. The next few days are crucial. We need to strengthen our position, gather more support, and figure out how to use the power of the bond between us. It's our only hope. Aiden looked at her, still unsure of what he had truly gotten himself into. He had never signed up for a war. He had never signed up to be part of an ancient prophecy. But here he was linked to a princess, part of something far bigger than himself. And, whether he liked it or not, the galaxy was watching. The two of them spent the next few days preparing, working tirelessly to gather intelligence, strengthen their defenses, and forge alliances. Aiden knew that they would need every advantage they could get. He had been trained as a medic, but now, more than ever, he felt like he was on the front lines of something much bigger than he had ever imagined. One night, as they sat together, studying their options, Lyra turned to him, her voice serious. Aiden, there's something you need to know. The enemies we're facing, they're not just powerful, they're ruthless. They'll do anything to get what they want. And that includes trying to turn the bond between us to their advantage. Aiden frowned. What do you mean? They believe that the power we share can be manipulated, Lyra explained. I think they can control it. Use it to gain control of my people or worse, destroy us. They'll stop at nothing to separate us, to weaken our connection. They know that if they can do that, they'll have the upper hand. Aiden felt a chill run down his spine, so they'll try to break us apart. Yes, Lyra said, her voice tight with worry. They'll use any means necessary. And if we're not careful, we could lose everything. The bond is fragile, and the more we rely on it, the more vulnerable we become. Aiden took a deep breath, his mind spinning with the implications. Then we need to strengthen it. To make sure that nothing can tear us apart, Lyra nodded. Exactly. We have to stay united no matter what. The bond between us is more than just a connection, it's a weapon. And if we can control it, we can turn the tide in our favor. Aiden looked at her, determination in his eyes. We can do this. Together. Over the next few days, they worked together to find a way to stabilize and strengthen the bond between them. It wasn't easy. They faced constant pressure from the external threats, and the strain of the bond was beginning to show, but they didn't give up. They knew that their future and the future of Lyra's people depended on their ability to control this power. Then, the day came when they were ready to face their enemies head-on. The enemy fleet was advancing, a large armada of ships moving toward them at an alarming speed. They had no choice but to confront them. Aiden and Lyra stood side by side in the command center, watching the battle unfold on the screens in front of them. The first wave of enemy ships arrived, their weapons primed and ready to strike. The tension in the room was palpable. "They're here," Lyra said, her voice steady but filled with determination. "It's time." Aiden's heart pounded in his chest. This was it. There was no turning back now. They had to fight not just for their survival, but for the survival of Lyra's people, and for the future they had begun to build together. Lyra turned to him, her eyes meeting his with a strength that he could feel in his very bones. "Are you ready, Aiden?" He nodded, his voice steady despite the fear inside him. "I'm ready." Together, they faced the battle that would determine their fate. The bond between them pulsed with energy, and as the first shots were fired, Aiden knew that their connection was the key to everything. It wasn't just about strength or power. It was about unity. Together, they were unstoppable. The battle raged on, the enemy forces relentless, but Aiden and Lyra stood strong. The bond between them was more than just a connection, it was a force that they could harness to fight back against those who sought to destroy them. And as the tide of the battle began to turn in their favor, Aiden knew one thing for sure. They had only just begun. The battle had raged for hours. The ships fired relentlessly at each other, their weapons cutting through the blackness of space like brilliant streaks of light. Aiden stood alongside Lyra in the command center, his heart pounding in his chest. He had never been part of anything like this. The sound of alarms and urgent orders filled the air, but he was focused only on the woman beside him. The bond between them was stronger than ever, and with every passing moment, Aiden could feel their connection growing. It was as if their hearts beat in time with one another, pulsing with the power they had unlocked together. But the battle wasn't over. The enemy forces were still coming, their ships closing in on them. Aiden had no military experience, no knowledge of tactics or strategy. But what he did know was that the bond between him and Lyra could be their greatest weapon, and they would need it now more than ever. Lyra's eyes were locked on the screens, her fingers moving rapidly over the control panel. "We can't keep up with their firepower. We need to do something drastic, Aiden. This battle will decide everything." Aiden's mind raced. "What do you want me to do?" "We need to combine our energy," Lyra said, her voice steady but urgent. "The bond between us, it's more than just a connection. It's a force. If we can harness it together, we can turn the tide of this battle." Aiden's heart skipped a beat. "You want us to... what? Use the bond to fight?" "Yes," Lyra said, her eyes burning with determination. "Our blood, our shared power together. We can make it work. But you have to trust me, Aiden. This will take everything we have." Aiden hesitated. It was insane. He saw the strength that had never wavered, even in the face of such overwhelming odds. He knew she wasn't asking him to do something reckless. She was asking him to believe in the power they had unlocked together. "I trust you," Aiden said, his voice steady. "Let's do this." Lyra nodded, and they both closed their eyes. Aiden could feel the bond between them, the power that flowed between their hearts. It was unlike anything he had ever experienced before. He could feel Lyra's emotions, her hope, her fear, her strength, and in return, she could feel his. The connection was deep, powerful, and real, as they focused on the bond, Aiden felt something change inside him. The energy that had once felt strange and unfamiliar now felt like a part of him. It was like a river flowing through his veins, filling him with strength. He opened his eyes, and for the first time he truly understood what Lyra had meant. Together, they were unstoppable. The command center was filled with a sudden surge of energy as the bond between them grew. Screens flickered, and the enemy ships on the radar began to move erratically, as though their systems were malfunctioning. Aiden could feel the power surging through him, through Lyra, and into the ships outside. It was as if the energy from their bond had reached out, disrupting the enemy's technology. The enemy fleet hesitated, as if confused by the sudden interference. It was their moment. Lyra's voice broke through the silence. Now, Aiden, together, nodded, and with all the strength they had, they channeled their power into a single focused strike. A wave of energy rippled through space, and with it, the enemy ships began to break apart. Their weapons systems failed, their shields flickered, and one by one the ships fell, disabled and unable to fight back. The battle was over. The enemies had been defeated not by weapons or strategy, but by the power of the bond between Aiden and Lyra. They had turned the tide, and in doing so, they had proven that unity was stronger than any weapon. The command center erupted into cheers. The officers and soldiers of Lyra's forces celebrating the victory. Aiden stood frozen in place, still trying to process what had just happened. He had never felt power like that before, and ever understood how something so intangible could be so real. Lyra stepped forward, her face lighting up with a smile. "We did it," she said, her voice filled with wonder. "We won." Aiden nodded, his mind still racing. "I don't know how, but we did. We actually did." Lyra placed her hand on his arm, her expression softening. "It's not just our victory, Aiden. It's the beginning of something new. We've shown the galaxy what we're capable of, and we've proven that together, we can face anything." Aiden looked at her, feeling the weight of her words. They had won, but this was only the beginning. They had uncovered the true power of their bond, and with it, they had changed the course of their lives and the future of Lyra's people. Lyra's people would be safe for now. The enemies who had sought to control them had been defeated. But Aiden knew that there would always be more threats, more challenges ahead. The galaxy was vast, and their victory had only been one battle in a much larger war. But for the first time, he felt ready for whatever came next. He wasn't alone anymore. Lyra looked at him, her eyes filled with gratitude and something deeper. "Aiden, I don't know what the future holds, but I know one thing for certain. We'll face it together. Whatever happens next, we have each other. That is more than enough." Aiden smiled, his heart full. Yeah, together. As they stood side by side, the stars outside the window seemed to shine a little brighter. The future was uncertain. But one thing was clear. Whatever challenges lay ahead, Aiden and Lyra would face them together, united by the bond that had brought them together, and that would keep them strong.